Welcome back to the third part of our video recorded lecture series. Part 2, we're able to discuss New Public Administration or NPA. This time, we will proceed with the context of the rise of NPM or New Public Management. Okay. Again, there are references that would use um, uh, administration and management interchangeably, pero distinctly may demarcation or pinagkaiba po si management at si administration. Okay? Now, from public administration, we move to another major shift in our discipline, and that is now the new public management or NPM. Be careful kasi NPA and NPM are not the same thing. Si NPA po asks if the government is fair or is their programs socially equitable. Si NPM naman comes in what as sorry, si NPM comes in with somewhat different concern. Ang pinakatanong naman ni New Public Management is the government actually performing well? Is it efficient? And is it producing results? So in a sense, bumabalik tayo sa concern for efficiency. But this time, through ideas borrowed heavily from private sector management and markets naman po tayo. Kung titignan po natin, si administration is more and largely concerned sa public service. Si management naman is more on the corporate perspective. Okay? So, hiniram lang po natin ito sa private sector management at saka sa various markets po natin. Okay. Now, bakit po nag-emerge si NPM? Kung si NPA ay nag-emerge sometime in the 1960s, si NPM naman po ay napag-usapan largely around 1980s. Okay? And there was a growing dissatisfaction in several countries with the traditional bureaucracy. No? Ang mga pamahalaan po sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo ay nakikriticize kasi masyadong malaki, masyadong mahal, um, masyadong centralized, masyadong procedural, at the same time, ang bagal. No? And the criticism was basically asks the question, bakit, no? Why does government focus so much on following procedures but not enough on whether it actually produces results? Now, NPM became particularly influential in the United Kingdom under Margaret Thatcher and in New Zealand and later gained considerable influence elsewhere. Okay. Now, in 1992, meron po si Osborne and Gabler. Okay? And they popularized an important phrase in reinventing government. Sabi po nila, government should steer and not row. Anong ibig sabihin po nito? They use now the metaphor of actually riding a boat. Okay? The government does not necessarily have to personally produce every service itself. It's important, no? It's more important responsibility maybe to set direction, establish standards, finance services, and regulate providers, as well as ensure results. Therefore, according to Osborne and Gabler, government steers the boat but does not necessarily have to row every part of it. In short, and in Filipino, ang government po dapat ang magbigay ng direksyon. Siya po ang may hawak sa manibela ng bangka at hindi sila yung sasagwan, no? Ano-ano yung mga point nila? Number one, in terms of market mechanism, no? The first characteristic is yung market mechanism. Si New Public Management, ang tanong po niya is, if competition improves performance in the private sector, can we also introduce some form of competition into public service delivery? At doon na po papasok yung competitive bidding or even contracting out. Okay? Example, yung isang LGU, let's say Tagudin, okay, kailangan ng garbage collection. Traditional thinking might say, government service iyan. Therefore, government itself ang magpo-provide ng truck, ng mga basurero, ng maintenance at ng operations ng garbage collection. Subalit, kay NTM naman, what if there is a qualified external provider that can deliver the same service more efficiently at mas mababa ang bayad? Hindi na kailangang bumili ng truck ng pamahalaan, hindi na niya kailangang mag-hire ng mga garbage collector. Ang gagawin na lang niya is maghahanap siya ng external party or third party na mag-o-offer ng parehong service ng mas mababa ang presyo. So, doon papasok yung idea that the government could contract the service while retaining responsibility for standards and accountability. So the underlying idea is competition may create pressure for efficiency. Of course, kung inopen mo to sa public, magkakaroon ng opportunity for them to compete, no? Dito pababaan ng presyo. At kung sino yung mananalo at may pinakamagandang serbisyo, sa kanya ibibigay yung bid. Okay? But remember, my dear friends, NPM does not necessarily mean privatize everything. So this is not the same concept as privatization. The the important idea is the introduction of market type mechanisms where appropriate. Number two is yung tinatawag nating managerialism. Okay? So si NPM po, hiniram na naman niya yung management technique from private organizations. And what does it say? Managers are given clearer targets and sometimes greater flexibility to achieve them. Instead of micromanaging every procedure, government should say, here's your budget and here are your performance targets. Deliver these results. Hindi po ganyan, no? Okay. So the manager receives greater discretion. Okay? Hindi niya in-specify kung paano gagastuhin per item. Ito yung budget, ito yung target, kailangan ibigay mo sa akin yung result. Nasa sayo na yun kung paanong diskarte mo i-utilize yung budget para ma-optimize mo yung resulta. Okay? So, for example, instead of judging a government manager primarily by did you follow all procedures? Okay? NPM also asks, what did your office actually accomplish? How many clients were served? How quickly? At what cost? Were your targets achieved? So managerialism shifts attention toward results-oriented management. Okay? So number three, citizens as customers. Okay? Um, Ito yung pinaka-recognizable idea ng NPM. Okay? So why use the language of customers? You think about private businesses. If customer service is terrible, customers may complain. They may leave or even choose another provider. Now, government historically did not always have the same pressure. You go to a government office and sometimes the attitude could be, ito yung proseso maghintay ka, huwag kang demanding, 'di ba? Kadalasan diyan nangyayari yung mga pagiging attitude ng mga nasa government service. Now, NPM introduced that hindi pwede yan. Public services should become more responsive to the people receiving them. So, we begin emphasizing things such as gaano katagal yung processing time, 'di ba? Gaano kaganda yung service standards, 'di ba? Mataas ba yung client satisfaction? Masaya ba ang mga kliyente pagkatapos nila mapagsilbihan? Are there any complaint mechanism? And is there an ease of transaction? Is it familiar? Yes, kasi this is already part nung tinatawag nating Citizens Charter. Kung saan doon po nakasaad gaano nga ba katagal ang isang pagpoproseso ng government service. Nagkakaroon din po ng client satisfaction survey and yung anti-red tape initiatives. At doon din po isinilang si ARTA or Anti-Red Tape Act and yung ease of doing business. So these reflect the broader movement toward making public organization more conscious of the experience of the service recipient. Pero tandaan po natin that the word customer, okay, later had been challenged. When you buy a coffee, you are a customer. But your relationship with government is different. You are not just a customer. You are a citizen. You are a taxpayer. You are a voter. You are also rights holder and participant in democracy. So that criticism becomes important later when we discuss yung tinatawag naman nating NPS or New Public Service. Sa NPM kasi, kinukulong lang niya sa isang idea yung mga tao. They are merely the customers of the government. Pero, nakakalimutan niyang tayo din po ay parte ng pamahalaan. Paano? Citizen. Taxpayers din po tayo. Botante. Tayo rin po ay may um, um, mga karapatan. At higit na mahalaga na kailangan natin tandaan is we are also participants in democracy. For now, my dear friends, remember that NPM deliberately adopts customer service language to emphasize responsiveness. And I hope that's clear. Okay? Malinaw po ba? Do we have questions or clarifications perhaps that you could type in into our chat box? Okay? Again ha, please do go over our video recorded lecture kasi um, um, it will actually lead us to better understanding. Okay? All right. We continue now to decentralization. And I think this is another important perspective as well in in local governance, no? At the same time, in the perspective and understanding as well, public administration. You have to understand that traditional bureaucracies tend to have long hierarchies, di ba? Yung napakahabang organizational structure, yung um, kung saan-saan nanggagaling ang mga decisions, no? Papunta, pabalik-balik sa mga iba't ibang mga opisina, dingin nagtuok nga proseso iti gobyerno. Okay? And that is actually very common in our um, government today. No? Now, NPM would tend to say push decision making closer to the operational level where possible. Break large bureaucratic structures into smaller units or agencies. Give managers greater operational autonomy. Bakit? Because if every small decision has to travel through 10 levels of hierarchy, government becomes slow. But there is a trade-off. Okay? If you give agencies greater autonomy, what do you need in return? Stronger accountability, which brings us directly to the fifth one, performance measurement. And I think this is the best legacy of NPM, no? Performance measurement. Traditional bureaucracy often emphasizes rule compliance, di ba? Sumunod ka ba sa procedure? Sumunod ka ba sa rules? No? Katulad ng sinasabi ni Robin Padilla. Did you complete the required forms? Now, NPM say, those things matter, yes, but what did you actually accomplish? Okay? Example, suppose an agency receives 20 million pesos and spends exactly 20 million pesos according to all accounting procedures. I think may basic accounting kayo, right? Here, zero audit findings. Very good. Maayos. Walang nasabi si COA. Walang confidentiality. But then I ask, anong nangyari? Because you spent 20 million pesos. And basically, your answer would be, well, we spent 100% of the budget. Now the question is budget utilization itself the ultimate outcome? Kapag ba nagastos mo entirely yung pera or yung budget na inilaan sa'yo ng pamahalaan, okay na ba yun? The NPM would say, no. Okay? NPM wants outputs and outcomes. Okay? How many beneficiaries were actually served? Did waiting time decrease? Did employment increase? No? Did poverty decrease? Yun po yun. So, that is why inintroduce yung performance management. Okay? Performance indicators, KPI, targets, audits, scorecards, client satisfaction measures, and results-based management. Now, may mahalagang difference po si output and outcome. Okay? Output is what government directly produces. Outcome asks what changed because of it. Okay? Now, let's try to connect the perspective of new public management to Simon. Balikan natin si Simon. Okay. Who does NPM sound to closer? Is it Waldo or Simon? In many aspects of our discussion, mas malapit yung perspective ng NPM kay Simon. Because there is measurement, there is performance, may evidence, may result, and of course, nandoon yung tinatawag nating managerial rationality. Okay? Now, NPM reflects that desire to make administration more results-oriented and measurable. Okay? But this will create another tension. Remember yung NPA kanina, asking about social equity? Okay. Now, suppose the most efficient service delivery model reaches 90% of citizens cheaply, but the remaining 10% are poor, geographically isolated, and even extremely expensive to serve. Now, new public management might emphasize look at the performance numbers, but NPA would respond, who exactly is inside that 10% you left behind? And see, no? Nagkakaroon na naman ng tension. Anong mas mahalaga? Equity, social equity, or performance indicators? Okay. So when we encounter new public management, okay, you think that run government with greater attention to results, performance, managerial flexibility, competition, and customer responsiveness. Okay? Nabanggit ko naman na po yung limang dimensions or characteristics po nito. Mechanisms, managerialism, citizens as customers, decentralization, and performance measurement. And remember yung famous na quotation natin dito? Government should steer and not row. Okay? But don't conclude that NPM can solve everything. Hindi po. Okay? Hindi kasi dyan natatapos yung ating perspective. Okay? Now, allow me to move on to the next slide. There remains to be critiques, no? There remains to be critiques of new public management. Sabi ko nga, hindi lahat na or wala pong perfectong perspective. Okay? Therefore, all right? So, um, wag nating isipin that because NPM introduced efficiency, performance measurement, decentralization, and customer responsiveness, automatically, siya na yung superior. No? NPM attempted to solve some problems of traditional bureaucracy. But in doing so, it also created new problems. Hindi na natapos-tapos yung mga problema natin. The more we try to understand deeper this one, mas dumadami yung problema ang nakikita na po natin. Okay? Number one, okay, consumer and not citizen, sabi niya dito. Okay? Remember what NPM did? Okay? Ni-reframe niya ang mga citizens as customers. At first glance, yes, maganda yun. Diba? If you are a customer, government should serve you properly. Hindi pwedeng bastos. Hindi pwedeng mabagal. Hindi pwedeng inefficient. At dapat hindi walang pakialam sa satisfaction mo. But critics would ask, is a citizen merely a customer of government? No, hindi po. Because your relationship with Jollibee is fundamentally different from your relationship with the government. If I go to a restaurant and I don't like the service, I can just leave and choose another restaurant. That is what we call as customer choice. But citizenship involves much more than choosing among services. Okay? Kapag ba ikaw ay hindi natuwa sa services ng Pilipinas, aalis ka na ba ng Pilipinas? Hindi gano'n kadali yun. Hindi katulad ng customer choice. Citizenship involves more than choosing among services. Okay? As citizens, may karapatan ka. May mga obligasyon ka. Dapat bumoto ka. Dapat mag-participate ka. And dapat you should demand accountability. And you can question government decisions. You have a voice in determining what government itself should do. Okay? So the criticism is that when we reduce citizens to customers, we risk changing the question from what should we collectively decide as citizens into simply, are you satisfied with the service you received? No? Okay? So those are not the same thing. So if you try to imagine a controversial public policy, for example, a government conducts a customer satisfaction and gets 95%. Does that automatically mean that the policy is democratic, constitutional, equitable, or just? The answer is no. Citizenship is bigger than customer satisfaction. Okay? The second point here is that there is what we call now as the concept of the hollow state. What is that? Balikan natin yung NPM idea. Government does not necessarily have to provide everything itself. Steer and not row. So the government may contract out services, privatize certain functions, and create semi-autonomous agencies to enter into various partnerships and decentralize the operations. Again, may mga disadvantage yan. But what happens when government becomes a huge network of contractors, private providers, NGOs, semi-autonomous agencies, consultants, and partner organization? Ang example po dyan ay yung flood control project. Di ba? Nung pumutok yung issue ng flood control, sino ang unang sinisi? 'Di ba? DPWH. Pero sabi ng DPWH, dapat hindi kami. Dapat yung mga contractors. Because we followed the procedure. Nagbidding kami, inaward namin yung mga contract. Etong mga contractors naman, ang itinuro ay yung mga congressman at mga senador na may mga insertions sa budget at yung mga pumondo ng mga flood control na ito. Ang tanong ngayon, sino na ang responsible? Kaya hindi rin po practical at wais na iasa sa mga private contractors yung mga projects ng government because number one, prone ito sa corruption. Kaya tignan nyo, di ba? Noong 2022 hanggang 2026, 2025, doon lumabas yung mga issues na ang dami-daming ginastos ng pamahalaan sa flood control project and yet, binabaha pa rin. Diba? So, sinong kawawa? Tayong mga Pilipino. Okay? Yan. Number 3 is managing to the metric. Okay? NPM loves performance indicators. Kailangan na-hit yung target. Dapat we have numbers. Dapat may ratings. Dapat nirarank natin yung mga resulta. There must be completion rates, etc., etc. And again, measurement is not inherently bad because there is a basis na umuusad po tayo. We need evidence of performance. Now, the problem begins when the indicator itself becomes the goal. For example, suppose I tell you a government office na sabi nila, your performance target is to process 95% of applications within 3 days. Ang ganda, di ba? Kasi may target kang kailangang i-achieve within 3 days. Okay? What might happen? Now, employees may genuinely improve their procedures. Okay? And maganda. Maganda. Okay? Now, ano mangyayari if that's the case? Hindi natitignan ng mga empleyado yung quality. Kasi naka-focus na sila sa quantity. Tama? Okay? Yun na lang yung gusto nilang i-achieve para lang masatisfy nila yung requirement ng boss nila. Okay? So, ang pangit, no? Pag-usapan natin yung sa education. Okay? Suppose we evaluate a school entirely based on passing rates. What is the actual goal? Student learning. But if administrators become obsessed with metric, the organizational goal can subtly change from make students actually learn to make sure our passing rate looks good. At doon papasok yung auto pass, 'di ba? Nakakalungkot kasi sa Pilipinas, no, lalo na yung sabi natin yung mga sa education sector 10 years ago, okay? Yung 10 taon mula ay ano ngayon, ang nakalipas. Nagkaroon ng parang konsepto ng sige ipasa ninyo. Bawal tayong mambagsak na gano'n na perspective. Kaya tignan niyo yung functional literacy natin ngayon. Okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na basic literacy. Yung marunong kang magbasa, marunong kang magbilang. Doon palang bagsak na ang Pilipinas. Pero ang mas nakababahala is yung paglagapak, no, pagbulusok ng ating functional literacy. Ano yung functional literacy? Ito yung marunong kang magbasa, pero hindi ka marunong umintindi ng iyong binabasa. At diyan papasok yung sinasabi ng mga nagmamarunong sa Facebook, yung mga nagpapakapolsay at nagpapaka-public ad na poor reading comprehension. Well, at some point, I have to agree with that. Kasi, let me give you an example, di ba? There was this statement of Vice President Sara Duterte na uuwi na siya after 1 week. Immediately, no, the supporters of Duterte thought that it was Rodrigo Duterte who will come home to the Philippines, who will return to the Philippines. Tuwang-tuwa sila ngayon, 'di ba? But little did they know that they actually missed the context. Another example. Okay. Yung konteksto ng sinasabi, again I do not support Robin Padilla. Okay? I never voted for him. Okay? I never supported him, and that I do not actually support, and I am not appreciative of his performance sa impeachment trial. Just for the record. Pero medyo madami na naman ang nagpakamarunong, no? Na akala mo expert at naintindihan nila yung sinabi ni Mariel Rodriguez Padilla. Okay? May point si Mariel Rodriguez nung naging consultant sila, si Robin Padilla, ng batas. Pero technically, may point naman yung ibang mga sinasabing, hindi naman si Robin Padilla yung nagpasa ng batas. Oo, kasi nga nakakulong siya that time eh. Pero kung titignan natin yung lesson natin sa PA 116, kahit sino ay pwedeng sumali sa paggawa ng batas. Kahit ikaw nga eh, di ba? You may be the originator, you may be the consultant. At huwag tayong magbulag-bulagan doon at magpapakarunong, di ba? Kasi the more you post some things online that is not actually accurately and factually true, pinapatunayan mo lang na bobo ka sa Facebook. Okay? Ganon yun. At nakakahiya, di ba? Alam mo yung parang wala nang hiya yung mga tao. Na minsan yung iba proud pa. Na ipangalandakan yung kamangmangan nila. 'Di ba? Hindi sapat na nabasa mo ang Constitution, parang alam mo na at expert ka sa Constitution. Maski ako, my dear friends, no. I studied constitutional law 1 and 2 nung Polsci ako. Nag-take pa ako ng law school, and until now, I am struggling with statutory construction because it's not always the literal sense that you can actually interpret the Constitution. Diba? Nakakalungkot lang sa Pilipinas, medyo obsessed tayo sa numbers. Katulad nito, i-take natin sa konsepto ng class po natin, 'di ba? Ang tataas ng mga grado ninyo, ang tataas ng mga scores niyo sa quizzes. Pero kung titingnan natin yung measurement of evaluation and assessment ko, online quiz. Wala akong protection, hindi ko naman alam if you are indeed actually taking the quiz with integrity and honesty. Huwag na tayo maglokohan, 'di ba? May iba sa inyo magkakasama, gumamit ng AI para i-search yung mga sagot sa questions ko. And I have already anticipated that. Don't think of it as bulag ako or that you could fool me into doing those kinds of things. Hindi. Okay? You have to remember, I have ways and means to actually check. Okay? And if you become too dependent and eventually bigla akong nagbigay sa inyo ng mga activities to measure if you truly understood my lesson, hindi ba mas nakakahiya kapag nahuli ko kayo face to face na mababa yung score ninyo? 'Di ba? Hindi ako yung niloloko ninyo doon. Ang niloloko ninyo yung sarili ninyo. Kasi paniwalang-paniwala kayo na matalino kayo, mahusay kayo, naintindihan niyo yung lesson ninyo dahil mataas yung score ninyo. Online quiz nga ni, 'di ba? But if you try to actually become genuine with your actions, you took the quiz seriously, and then nakita ko na medyo mababa ang resulta, I could have done more interventions to help you. Pero sa estadong ito, hindi nyo tinulungan yung sarili ninyo. Mas idinown po ninyo ito. Diba? Proud na proud kayo. Kasi nakasali kayo sa top scorers na pinopost ko. Pero nung mineasure ko siya sa face-to-face, legwak. Diba? Ako, I can just actually do my mandate. Kung tutusin nga, kahit hindi na ako magkaroon ng intervention eh. Kung tutusin nga, hindi ko na kailangan i-analyze yung resulta ng quiz ninyo eh. Nagpa-quiz ako, na-record ko, tapos that's how university works. 'Di ba? Kaya nga gustong-gusto ko magturo sa university kasi konti lang yung trabaho supposedly. Gagawa ko ng syllabus, magtuturo ako, magpapa-exam ako, magagraduate ako, that's it. Pero that's not how I am. I extend. Bawat result ng quiz, iniintindi ko saan may pinakamaraming pagkakamali sa quiz item. Ibig sabihin, hindi nyo naintindihan yung part na yun. And hindi ko kayo i-condemn doon. Rather, tutulungan ko pa kayo. Pero kung niloloko niyo yung result ng exam, 'di ba? Yan yung papasok yung part ng managing the metric, 'di ba? You are not showing the true result. You are just there to actually get the optimal result to make your story plausible, 'di ba? At doon papasok yung goal displacement, 'di ba? You are no longer here to learn. You are here to get high grades. And gagawin nyo ang lahat para makakuha ng mataas na grado kahit hindi nyo na naintindihan yung lesson. And that's extremely disappointing. That's saddening. Okay? Now, let me introduce to you the concept of Merton's goal displacement. Okay? Remember Robert Merton and bureaucracy nung diniscuss ko si Weber? Okay? Goal displacement happens when the means, the procedures, or the indicators originally created to help achieve an organizational goal eventually become treated as the goal itself. Diba? Ang goal ninyo is matuto at makakuha ng mataas na marka. Pero anong nangyari? Ang goal na lang ninyo ay makakuha ng mataas na marka. Any means possible. Kahit hindi nyo na naiintindihan yung lesson. And that's very saddening, my dear friends. Okay? Now, we move on to the next part of our discussion. Okay? And here comes now the new public management. The new public service. Okay. Dito, serving than steering. Kung kanina sa new public management, steer the boat, not just row. Dito naman, you should serve rather than just, magputos, mag-direct, okay? Or you rather than steer. Okay? Ayan. Government does not necessarily have to take personally deliver everything. Yaan ang sinasabi ni public management. Pero, according to Robert and Janet Denhart, okay, wait, citizens are not merely customers. And here comes now the new public service. Mula sa steering, now it became serving. Okay, the Denhards give us very memorable praise. You have to serve and rather than steer. Now, what's the difference? Traditional public administration can sometimes portray administrators as the people who rowed the boat. They directly implement government programs. NPM says, hindi kayo dapat ang maggawa niyaan. You just need to lead, set targets, manage performance, use competition, direct the organizations toward results. But si new public service naman asks, who gave administrators the right to decide by themselves where the boat should go. Because in democracy, my dear friends, government does not belong to administrators. It does not belong to managers. It does not belong to exclusively elected politicians. Government ultimately belongs to citizenry. Kaya hindi po enough na dapat tinitignan natin ang citizens as customers lang. Because take note, tayo mga tao ang pamahalaan. We are the government. Okay? And this is my favorite part of teaching. Okay? Kasi take note class. Okay? Balikan natin yung meaning ng state. What is the meaning of state? Ay, yung mga Polsci ko, kabisadong-kabisado ito kasi halos isang buwan ko itong diniscuss before. Okay? What is the meaning of state? State is according to Isagani Cruz, state is a community of persons, more or less numerous, permanently occupying a definite portion of territory, independent of external control, and possessing an organized government to which the great body of inhabitants render habitual obedience. You have to take note that tayo ang government. Okay? As an element of the state, we are the ones who create our own government. In fact, in the Philippines, we regularly create our government. Sa paanong paraan? Election. Every time nagkakaroon ng election, binabago natin ang government po natin. Okay? So the administrator's role is not simply to control or steer society toward whatever destination managers believe is efficient. In fact, yung role na ginagampanan ng government natin is to serve the citizens and help democratic communities determine their shared direction. And what is democracy again? No? Democracy is actually a government of, okay? Government of the people. Democracy is the government by the people. And democracy is the government for the people. This is actually the phrase used by President Abraham Lincoln during the Gettysburg Address in 1863. Bakit sinabing of the people? All power and legal authority belongs to the citizen, not a monarch, not an elite class. Government by the people. Ibig sabihin yan, the citizens control the government through free and fair votes and civic action. And the government is for the people. It means that the government exists to serve the public good, protect rights, and help society. Ganyan po inilarawan ang demokrasya. And in short, the government is the citizen. Okay? Sana malinaw po yung government of, for, and by the people. And take note, yung Salus Populi est Suprema Lex. Okay? Again, i-discuss po natin, customer versus citizen. If we try to go back to our discussion and criticism ng sa new public management, the new public management likes the language of customer service. And again, walang masama sa good customer service. Lahat tayo gusto yan, di ba? Nakaka-bad trip kapag sinabi ng Jollibee crew, "Sir, willing to wait 20 minutes po sa chicken?" Tapos binilang mo, shit, 25 minutes na, 30 minutes na. Ang tagal. Bad trip ka na, di ba? Okay. And I absolutely want government employees to be responsive, efficient, courteous, and timely. Maski ako, if I process some things in the government, nababad trip ako kapag sinabi, "Sir, agsubli ka tulad na tikas ng orasan. Sir, awan kasing agpirma gamin." Di ba? Now, you have to take note that new public service says citizenship goes beyond receiving services. Suppose I enter a government office to request a document. At that moment, yes, I am receiving the service. But as a citizen, I also have to ask, or I have the right to ask, no? Bakit may polisiyang umiiral patungkol dito? How are public resources being allocated? Can our community participate in this decision? No? So, in short, a customer receives, as citizens participate. Okay? Sa kontekstong ito, sa base na nakikita ko, karamihan sa inyo, you are just merely performing as customers. May karapatan at may obligasyon kayong makialam. Diba? Haan laeng nga iso ti papanyo ti barangay hall ket into no apang kayo agala iti certificate of indigency or certificate of residency para iti uh, nagato yan scholarship yo, diba? Baka iso ti aldaw nga makita iti aniniwan ni kapitan. Hmm. Now, what exactly is public interest? Okay? Under the new public management type market logic, we might imagine public interest as the aggregate of individual preferences. In simple terms, damagam na niya iti kaadwan. And then you measure their preferences. So sabihin mo, 90% ng mga taga-ISPSC gusto ganito. That's market logic. Okay? Pero sa new public service, public interest is more complicated than that. Because public interest is not simply asking ano ang gusto ng pinakamarami. Sometimes you have to take note that citizens have competing interests. Sometimes, what is popular is not necessarily equitable. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, hindi enough na nakikisawsaw lang kayo dahil ito yung uso, dahil ito yung trending. Ba? Sometimes, minority rights need protection. Diba? Hindi dahil majority wins, baybayan tayo the minority. Okay, example. Suppose municipality has 20 million pesos available. Residents are given three possible projects. A new public market, B, a flood control project, or C, okay, improvements to rural health facilities. If we follow as a very simple customer preference model, we might conduct a survey and then lalabas sa survey na 45% ng population gusto bagong palengke. 35% naman ang bumoto sa flood control. And health naman natin 20%. Okay, nanalo yung market kasi sila pinakamarami. But new public service says, wag ganon, not so fast. What if the 20% supporting the health facility consists primarily of geographically isolated communities with almost no access to healthcare? What if flood control advocates explain that several barangays face severe recurring risks? What if citizens initially choose the market because they did not know about those conditions? Should we simply count preferences at kung sino yung may pinakamarami, yun na? 'Di ba? Sure na ba tayo diyan? Ganyan na ba dapat ang decision-making process natin? Ganyan na ba dapat ang thought process natin? Public interest is considered also as a form of dialogue. That is why, in this sentence, napakahalaga na tandaan po natin, the public interest is the product of a dialogue about shared values. The administrators does not simply ask, ano ang gusto mo? Diba? Rather, they should ask, expert po ako at alam ko po I know the best. No? Instead, the administrator helps create spaces where citizens, public officials, various organizations, and communities can freely discuss, negotiate, and deliberate and discover ano ang common good. Okay? So the public administrator becomes partly a facilitator, a mediator, okay, even a convener at public servant. So multiple ang roles na nilalaro nila. Okay? Very applicable ito sa barangay governance. Okay? No? So, if government simply announces, ito ang project natin for your information. That is not simply the spirit of new public service. No? But suppose citizens are given meaningful opportunities to raise concerns. They can ask questions, no? And even identify community problems. Then it becomes now democratic and participatory. The citizen is no longer merely the recipient at the end of the process. The citizen becomes now part of the process. Okay? So, NPM versus NPS. NPM asks the question, how can we make government perform better for its customers? New public service, on the other hand, would say, how can public servants work with citizens to pursue the public interests? So ang emphasis po ng new public management ay malinaw. It's more on the performance, efficiency, managerial flexibility, and customer responsiveness. Samantalang si new public service naman, ang focus po niya ay sa citizenship, sa democracy, sa participation, sa dialogue, and at the same time, sa public interest. Okay? Now, balik tayo kay Waldo. Okay. Si Waldo po, okay, ang sabi po niya, ang administration is value-laden and we cannot reduce public administration to technical efficiency. Now, new public service essentially carries the democratic and normative concern forward because the fundamental question becomes not merely did the government deliver efficiently, but also nakinig ba ang pamahalaan? Nagkaroon ba ng meaningful inclusion at involvement ang mga tao? Did the process reflect democratic values? Was the resulting decision genuinely oriented toward the public service or the public interest? So tandaan po natin, traditional bureaucracy emphasizes administration and rules. The new public management says steer and not raw. Manage government more strategically and focus on results. Subalit, sabi naman po ni New Public Service, serve rather than steer. Okay? Sana po naging malinaw ang ating discussion on that portion. Okay? Now, I am ending this video kasi halos 47 minutes na naman siya. Uh, don't worry, I am almost done with my topic. Okay? Last episode na po yung part 4 later on. Okay? So, I'll see you on the next video and goodbye for now.